Good evening. It's February 18th on the Alan Osborne Show. We're going to go over the February 8th meeting, part of things that I didn't cover before. And specifically, we're going to watch Boots McCormick shoot himself. Updates are we're still waiting on the marshal of Defuniak Springs to tell us something. He's already changed the story one time. I wonder what he's going to tell me now. Come on, Chief Hurley. You said that the state had already made up its mind. Why'd you change yours? Still waiting on that information for those of you who've been writing me about that. Anyway, I'm going to step back into the meeting and go on to the part where Boots decides that he's going to make a decision because he's mad about all the things that have occurred, and he's mad at Fred Tricker. I want you to know that Fred Tricker is one of the most knowledgeable people we have on the planning board, and Boots used to brag about him. But Fred spoke up about things that went to the BCC that did not go to the planning board properly, and some things that were lied about. And Boots found that offensive to the position, because the way Boots says, if you're on the board and the board says something, you can't speak out against the citizens. I swear this board has the hardest time with the First Amendment. They don't have to answer, but you can't keep filtering what the people believe. And you don't have the right to tell them unless it's toxically, and even some Supreme Court rulings say that even profanity is not limited by the First Amendment. But be that as it may, if it's a subject that they don't want to talk about, they don't want you to talk about it either. And folks, that's just not how the Constitution works. So without further ado, we're going to jump over there and see what Boots sticks his boot how far in his mouth. Here we go. And without further ado, we let Boots stick his foot in his mouth.
Mr. Chairman, I have the next two items. I'll just go ahead and make it as easy as I can. For both the next two items, I am hereby advising the board as your attorney that I am in need of advice concerning litigation strategy and expenses to be incurred pursuant to Florida Statute 286.011 sub 8. And I would request that we enter into an attorney-client executive session on each of these two cases. The first one,
I cut through Clay's pontificating straight to Boots. So go ahead, Boots.
Let's go. Commissioner McCormick.
Okay. Got a request here from the board. It's pretty much black and white. I'm making a request to remove Fred Tricker from the District 1 Commissioner appointee seat on the Planning Commission, and would like to appoint Bill Curry to fill the vacancy for the remainder of the term, which expires January 31st, 2020.
Hey, for you folks out there, he just wanted to take off one of the most knowledgeable guys, like I said. He wants to appoint some guy that used to be a deputy with him. Do y'all see a pattern here of nepotism? They've got to put people in positions they know will protect their back, even if they're wrong, even if they're doing the wrong thing. I don't know who this guy is, truthfully, but I know he's an ex-deputy. And Boots is doing this because he's mad. And I'll go over some other things. But go ahead, Boots. But watch what happens to Boots, because he ain't talked to Clay about it. He ain't researched anything, and it's Boots for brain. Here we go, Boots for brain.
25.
Are you making that a motion?
I'll make that a motion.
Second. Okay. Any discussion on the board?
Yes.
Johns?
Now, of course, Danny Lidwell was spring-loaded for the second, as usual. Go ahead.
According to our Land Development Code 1.10.
Imagine that. Donna knows it.
Plain Commission, it states that terms of the members of the Walton County Planning Commission shall be for 2 years. A member whose term expires may continue to serve. And then it goes on to say that commissioners shall have the authority to remove any member of the Walton County Planning Commission for cause on written charges after a public hearing. So we haven't had a public hearing. I haven't seen written charges. So are we going to abide by our ordinance, our land development code?
is Mr. Tricker stepping down? Is that something you need to talk about? So, per the code, once the board appoints, the removal process is outlined as Commissioner.
Clay tried to throw Boots a lifeline like he coordinated this, but this was just just like Boots resigning and everything else that Boots does is just a knee-jerk reaction to to dumbass. Here we go. But he'll go ahead and stick his foot in his mouth. Donna knew what was up.
Says, just like when you took over, Commissioner John, certainly a board member who nominates a person, since they're not your appointee, you can ask, would they be so kind as to step down to allow you to appoint someone else? What I would recommend is that be the first step in this process, because otherwise it would be.
And folks, Fred Tricker's already decided he's not going to step down. So this is going to be another, Boots is going to have a hearing to remove somebody for either cause or for he's lost confidence, as Tony said when he got rid of Quinn. But let's see what Bootsy does.
Formal removal process that he would need to engage in to remove a member of the planning commission.
Okay, so how do we set that up?
I would think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I would think that what he's saying is that you would ask Mr. Tricker to resign. Is that correct?
Yes, if he's willing to, you can appoint someone new. If not, if you have written cause, we will schedule this for a public hearing.
How dumb do you have to be to have Tony explain something to you? Just saying.
At the next board meeting and bring it back then for the board to conduct a hearing for the removal of that planning board member.
Will we need to withdraw those motions?
In line of circumstance, the motion would be to schedule the, we just amended to schedule the public hearing and allow Commissioner McCormick.
Let me ask you this. Can I pull my motion and make the motion to continue this to the next, or table it to the next meeting?
It's your item. You don't need to make that.
Did you hear the words that Danny said? I'll pull the motion. Second, I was just backing you up, partner.
You take your motion, we can bring it back and do it.
I'll pull my motion. And then now I'll make a motion, just table it to next meeting.
You don't even need to do it. It's your item. You just can bring it up whenever you want. No need to table it.
All right.
But if he wants to have the public hearing, he needs to make the motion, correct?
We would not be tabling it. We would need to schedule the public hearing on those issues. So if we would need to schedule that at some point in time.
And you don't have to, you just request for that to be on the agenda?
I would ask that we make a motion to schedule it. I didn't understand he was asking to schedule a public hearing now.
He's withdrawing his motion.
What I'd like to do is just pull it off the table and contact Mr.
So he's going to take the first option to talk to the appointee first. And if that doesn't work, then we'll be to schedule a public hearing.
Of course, that's not going to work. So what's Bootsy going to do?
We can take care of that.
Okay. Is that it, Mr. McCormick?
Yes, that's all I can.
Commissioner.
So, anyway, you just saw this kind of crap go on. And before this, and earlier in the meeting, as y'all recall, that Tony Anderson, who said he didn't really want to be chairman, and wasn't the vice chairman before, because Danny said he hadn't so much experience, but he didn't want to do it, but he voted for himself. Now, what you're seeing is the setup by Tony to make sure he controls all negative information about, probably in my opinion is because his son Colby is setting himself up to run. How you doing, Colby, who never comes up there and speaks? By God, I'm going to speak to you, son. You done pissing me off. He's the same guy that brought Stolen Valor Buchanan to the ballot last time. This was his little backer. This is Tony's son. So Tony wanted to make sure that he jumped in there out of order so he could orchestrate all kind of support as the chairman for Colby. You watch this shit go down. This is, hey Colby, we'll get to talk about your little DUI and possession charges and stuff like that, won't we, during the election? I said, we bet your ass we will. This crap about you writing articles about saving people through the DWC, we see through that garbage. That's the same crap Buchanan said about how much he was doing for our community. I say bullshit. That's what I say. Your dad hadn't done shit for this community either, but destroy it. He never lived in District 5. That's not where he spent most of his life in the Funiac. He came here just like you, Colby, is going to run because of the small business. It's for money. It's for the connections. It ain't got shit to do with helping this community. And that's the opinion of Alan Osborne. And that's the way I see it on February 18th. Look, people, we've come to a time in this country. Did you see that? Somebody in California, they elected an illegal immigrant to the elections board in California. The border's open. We got problems, and I'm not saying, but we've got to start fixing them one county at a time. And if you live in Walton County, you should be tired of this garbage. You should see that there's better answers. The FUNIAC's about to hold an election so they can change the city charter to hire an unqualified guy. Does that pass the smell test in politics? Nobody should be above it. They're there to serve the Constitution, and the Constitution is there to serve the people, not the politicians, the elected and connected. But that's the way it seems to be. But you can do something about it on the Alan Osborne Show. Go out and vote. Tell your neighbor. Share my show. Ask questions. Demand answers and go to meetings. That's how you get it done on the Alan Osborne Show. Otherwise, you're just a sheep waiting for the wolf. I'm telling you, if you really knew, you're just a sheep waiting for the wolf if you don't stand up. So y'all keep them straight out there till next time, because they can't keep themselves straight. Haven't we proven that? You just can't make this shit up. Or I'd be a genius if I was making all this up. I may be making big money in Hollywood, but like I said, you just can't make this shit up. Till next time on the Alan Osborne Show, we'll see you then.